The Sharks drop another preseason game to the Anaheim Ducks, this time 4-2 in Anaheim. So we're going to talk about the mostly Cuda squad, a terrible Killorn hit, and if there's some hope on the power play. So all that and more on today's episode of Locked On Sharks.
You're Locked On Sharks, your daily podcast on the San Jose Sharks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, welcome to Locked On Sharks, the premier hockey podcast covering your favorite team in the Bay Area. My name is JD Young, contributor at Inside the Rink. I want to thank you for making Locked On Sharks your first listen, probably a part of the Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. If you want to be an everydayer, all you got to do is just follow along wherever you get podcasts, or you can subscribe on YouTube as well, or do both. Both is great. Ducks beat the Sharks down in Anaheim in another preseason game, 4-2. And this one much different than what actually we saw on Tuesday night. My days are getting all confused. But we have to start with the Killorn hit, which was just an absolute garbage play by Killorn. So if you didn't see it, basically the Sharks are empty net situation, down 4-2 with about a minute and a half left in the game. Puck gets out of the zone. Anaheim is on a break. Matt Benning, he's basically calls for a high stick as I believe it actually is Killorn who takes a shot at the net. It hits the post and goes off, right? Zadina goes to touch the puck, therefore ending the play, right? Everyone know kind of basic rule of hockey, right? When if your team is called for a penalty, the penalty doesn't start until you maintain control of the puck. Zadina all by himself over on the board is going to touch the puck and end the play. Killorn just comes up and just crushes Zadina into the boards. Zadina needs to be helped off the ice afterwards. This did brew from an earlier altercation where Tristan Robbins ran into the goalie, Lucas Dosal, and tempers flared there. Looked like Gudas was going to murder Tristan Robbins at some point, which I get, right? His job is to protect the goalie, and that's fine. Robbins kind of ran out of real estate, ran into. I'm not saying Robbins was that completely, he ran into the goalie. Gudas doing what he does, trying to protect his goalie. That's what he's there for, right? I completely get that. But this retaliation in a preseason game, where again a player has his back turned to the ice, he's get ready to touch the puck, and then you just come up and just blindside him. No place in hockey for the just absolute garbage play, terrible play. Hope Zadina feels better. Not a good night for the Sharks in terms of injuries. Zadina, of course, left. Don't know anything about his situation at the moment. And then you do have Radim Šimik left in the first period. Lower body injury. I think he was blocking a shot. Quinn did say per Shangpeng, he doesn't think Zadina's injury is serious. So fingers crossed there, just especially for a guy like Zadina, who has struggled with injuries. So we'll see if we see Zadina in the preseason anymore, but you never know with some of these hits. Sometimes it might take a day or two before you maybe really feel the effects. So hopefully he's back out there soon. But Radim Šimik, lower body injury. They'll have more of an update on him tomorrow. And then Raska, puck to the face, was back out there later. So there is a little bit of wear and tear on this team right now. So we'll get into the numbers a little bit and look at what the numbers a little bit more. But with this roster tonight, it was a very heavy kind of Cuda roster. So we'll actually go through the lines right now. Peterson, Bordelot, Zadina, Gushin, Carpenter, Todd, Bailey, Robbins, Coe, Smith, Castles, Raska. Then you have Thren, Benning, Shimmick, McDonald, Hatka, Burrows, and Romanov tonight for the Sharks. For the Ducks, Killorn, Karlsson, Nestorenko, McGinn, Henrique, Cassian, DeLeo, Gosher, Lison, Tracy, Godin, Pastoyov, Minchikov, Warren, Zellweger, Gudis, Bakanayan, and then Carrick with Dostal in net. And so this is a pretty CUDA heavy roster, right? I mean, Zadina's kind of out of the forwards, Zadina's kind of really the only lock to be in the NHL. The defense was a little bit more heavy NHL players between Benning, Shimmick, and McDonald, who's played a lot last year, and Burrows too. But this CUDA roster, honestly took it to the Ducks for a good chunk of this game, for a majority of this game. Yes, they did have a ton of power plays, but you have to feel good at least where this CUDA roster is going to be going into camp, especially once we see a full Barracuda roster. And defensively, even though it was all those NHL guys, it was a Henry Thren show again tonight, right? Henry Thren continues to prove why he's going to be a future asset and future key piece to the Sharks team. And, he ran the power play. He was the power play one quarterback, looked great doing that as well. You saw, especially when he was kind of quarterbacking the offensive zone time, he did a great job of kind of spreading around, picking his shots. Couple where he tried to Brent Burns it and shoot it through a guy's shin pads, but overall he's just cool and calm and effective. Nothing seems to rattle Thren, and it's going to be a tough decision for Quinn on this defense. I do not envy him on who's going to stick around for the defense, but especially with the way Mukhamadullin and Thren have been both played so far this preseason. Again, I know it's preseason, but they've been given an opportunity, and I think both those guys have been kind of taking off with it. But back to this kind of CUDA roster, you're seeing a nice mix of the veteran guys, Nathan Todd looked good tonight as well. He had a goal. Carpenter, Bailey, who's a tryout guy, all those guys are good. Really kind of insulate those younger players, like your Robbins, your Gushins, your Bordelots and stuff. Out of the young guys, I would say Gushin probably had the best night. All over the ice, especially on the power play. He's so lethal on the power play, not only with his shot, but with his passing and his ability to find guys. And you saw that on display tonight. Still some things he needs to iron out in his game, but Gushin's he's coming along right where you want him to be. At least continues to see that tonight. So, but overall, I mean, when I dig into we get into what the numbers say here. Honestly, an absolute kind of dominant performance by the Sharks, especially for, the Ducks, who have a little bit more, especially in the forward group, had a little bit more NHL guys. And I honestly, the Sharks, this baby Sharks CUDA team looked like the better team on the forward group. And if it wasn't for Dostal, Dostal was lights out tonight. If it wasn't for Dostal, this should have easily been a Sharks win. They dominated for large stretches of the game. Granted, they had a lot of power play opportunities, but they dominated time possession, pace of play, kind of whatever the Sharks wanted to do. Just got unlucky with the goal scoring tonight. So before we dig into the numbers, and then I'm going to talk about the power play at the end a little bit more, and if there's some hope despite Erik Karlsson no longer being on the Sharks. But before we do that, need to take a quick break. And we're going to talk about our good friends over at DoorDash. Nothing like convenience of modern technology, getting what you want right to your door with DoorDash grocery delivery. You can stock up for the week or order last-minute cravings conveniently. You trust DoorDash? I know I do, right? To deliver your restaurant's favorites. And now you can get groceries delivered that actual delivery to you. So with thousands of grocery stores to choose from, you can find the best in your neighborhood and boost your local economy with each and every order. You'll get exactly what you ordered, or they'll make it right. So sit back and enjoy quality groceries just like you pick them yourselves. They also have easy substitutions, right? So if maybe there's something out there, they have the best in-class customer support. DoorDash delivers groceries exactly the way you want it, right? Nothing worse than not getting what you want, right? That's what you want. You're trying to get the groceries you need. So right now, get 50% off your first DoorDash order, up to $20 value when you use code LOCKED at checkout. Limited time offer, terms apply. That's 50% off, up to $20, no min subtotal, and zero delivery fees on your first order when you download the DoorDash app in the App Store and enter code LOCKED. Don't forget, that's code LOCKED for 50% off your first order with DoorDash. So what did the numbers actually say for this game? How kind of dominant were the Sharks actually in this game? So 5-on-5, Sharks dominated the shot attempts 56-38. Again, this is just 5-on-5. So 56-38 shot attempts. Actual shots was 31-24. So a little bit closer there. Scoring chances was 21-14. High danger chances 10-5, all in favor of the Sharks. The Ducks, the first period didn't have a high danger chance. The Sharks had 5 in the first period. Came to play. Expected goals for 2.88 to 1.79. The power play was like I said, for the Sharks, they had multiple power play opportunities. They had 19 shot attempts on the power play. Like I said, we'll dig into the power play a little bit. Here's some more, but just like absolute domination. And looking at the heat map, right? Like the Sharks just planted out front of Dostal, and he was good tonight. Sometimes you just have to tip your cap to the goalie. Looking at the Sharks forward lines, again, a little bit weird with the kind of with some of the guys in and out and trying to kind of create some offense here. But the Gushin, Carpenter, Todd line played the most at 5-on-5. They had 540 time on ice, 8 shot attempts for, 5 allowed. Actual shots was 5-3. Expected goals for, that line created 0.33. Expected goals for while giving up 0.1. Love to see it. So 4 scoring chances gave up 0. 1 high danger chance gave up 0. 2-2 for your offensive and neutral zone starts. Nebraska, Cole Castle's Giovanni Smith line played 419. Giovanni Smith, I thought, also had a really stellar night. Every time he was on the ice, you noticed him. Great shot attempt, kind of down. He was kind of screaming down the boards, had a good shot there, made a couple of plays, almost created another goal. When they were on the ice, 7 shot attempts, gave up 1, 4-1 shots, 4-2 against. Expected goals for 0.35. 3 scoring chances gave up 0. 2 high danger chances gave up 0. 4-1. So a lot of offensive zone starts for them. The Robbins, Justin Bailey line, a little bit tougher night for them. So 340 time on ice, 3 shot attempts for, 9 allowed. And then 3-6, the shot attempps, 0.3 expected goals for, gave up 0.67. So again, they kind of had a bit tougher night compared to their rest of their line mate, or kind of the rest of the lines, but still managed to put up a 0.3 expected goals for. So they just kind of got a little bit more work to do, kind of lock it down defensively. 2 scoring chances to 4, 1-2 high danger chances. But they did have 4 defensive zone starts. So, and then the Peterson, Bordeleau, Zadina line played 337 at 5-on-5. Again, the Sharks had a ton of power play opportunities in this game. So that's why the numbers are a little bit skewed here. And then that line had 5 shot attempts, gave up 4. Actual shots was 3-4 in favor of the Ducks. They did give up 2 goals. Expected goals for was 0.4 to 0.34, and then scoring chances was 3-3, 1-2 in favor of the Ducks. High danger chances, and also mainly neutral zone or defensive starts for them. So just, again, like you saw what you wanted to see from these lines, and maybe some of the Bordalo Robbins centered lines didn't do as well as you would expect. At least when it came to the analytics, but the the Sharks had plenty of opportunities in this game. They just weren't able to kind of capitalize. So, as for Georgi Romanov, who got his first kind of real tastes in action, not the greatest debut, I would say. The first two goals were a little soft. You had a point shot that trickled in, kind of the same thing as we saw last night. Then the second goal he gave up was that was a bad goal. That was a 5-hole goal that he needs to make a save there. So some of them later on, especially the one at the beginning of the third period, that was a great shot. That was an absolute snipe, but that's one you really want to save, especially as your team's trying to kind of crawl back into this game. And that's when it made it 4-1. And kind of, I know the Sharks got a goal a couple minutes later, but that's when it kind of put the nail in this game, unfortunately. So Romanov faced 27 shots, made 23 saves, 4 goals against. Expected goals against was 207, 852 save percentage, 415 goals against average. Again, he just didn't really face a ton. We looked at the last two games where Blackwood and Kapokakinen had, high danger shot attempts around 10. He faced 5 high danger shots and made 4 high danger saves and 1 allowed. Mid danger, this is where he got in trouble, was the 5 mid danger saves. 5 mid danger shots, only made 2 saves, gave up 3, and then he had 3 low dangers with 3 low danger saves. So just not the type of night you want to see from Romanov. So, and again, he's young, making his transition over to North American ice, first game, all that stuff. But I expect us to. I really wanted to see Magnus Krona tonight, especially with the more Barracuda heavy roster. That would kind of give a nice little taste of what we're going to see come with the Barracuda this season. But we should see Magnus Krona this weekend when the Sharks play again. I believe that's Saturday night. So we should see Magnus Krona and probably a little bit more NHL roster. And then I know they have 2 more games after that. So or maybe this could be another Barracuda roster and you're trying to get your NHL roster a little bit. It'll interesting to see what David Quinn does there with those. So overall, though, like I said, I mean, this Sharks team, they kind of took it to the Ducks, and sometimes you get goalied, and it's the preseason, and it doesn't really matter. But it would have been nice to see these guys kind of rewarded for their efforts tonight, because I thought overall they played really well. The numbers kind of showed that they played well. The eye test showed that they played well. They just didn't get they didn't get some of the bounces that you would want. And I mean, they did get one. I will say the Jake Bailey goal where it basically hit him and then just kind of bounced down. He was able to kind of tap it in on the power play. That was your bounce, and that was the only bounce you got tonight. Other than that, Dostal was excellent tonight, and looks like the Ducks found yet another franchise goalie. So hooray for them to go with their plethora of young talent. So yeah, it is what it is. So before we continue, we're going to look at the power play, kind of dig into some more of the power play numbers and what we're kind of seeing that, especially with Mukhamadullin and Thrun kind of holding down the fort as the quarterback, and the Sharks' quest to look for a new power play quarterback. Before we get into all that, do want to thank you guys for making Locked On Sharks your first listen. Proudly a part of Locked On Network. We cover your team every day. We'll be back tomorrow where we're going to do some stock up, stock down. And you better believe Henry Thrun and Shakir Mukhamadullin will be heavily talked about on tomorrow's episode. Because their stock is looking great right now. So we're going to do some stock up, stock down, and what we've seen from the beginning of training camp and some of the preseason games. So make sure you guys are following along wherever you get podcasts. And of course, you can subscribe on YouTube as well. All right, so the power play. Again, tonight, you had a little bit of kind of that Barracuda chemistry. You know, it's guys like Bordelot and Robbins and like some of these guys and Gushin and some of these guys who played on the power play together. So there's a little bit of that chemistry there. But I thought the puck, like kind of the puck distribution and the puck kind of moving around constantly, I thought they did a really good job of kind of keeping the puck moving and knowing when to shoot and kind of when to pass. And there wasn't that like pass, take a shot. The puck was constantly moving, and there might be some hope for the Sharks power play. So again, 19 shot attempts on the power play. And I know the Sharks, so they had 5 power play attempts. They, were 1 for 5, and you would like that to be a little bit closer, maybe 2 for 5 tonight, but 1 for 5 in a preseason game. Like, pretty solid. So again, 19 shot attempts. They did give up 1 shot attempt. Actual shots for was 13-1. So 13 shot attempts in 5, that's good. Like, you're averaging over 2 shot attempts per or shots on goal, shots on goal. You're averaging over 2 actual shots on goal per power play. That's good. That's pretty good clip right there. They created 16 scoring chances during that time, 9 high danger chances. Expected goals against was 1.79, and they did score a goal. So they probably were due it. Like I said, they were probably due another goal there just because of the work that they did. But, and like looking at just like kind of how this team, like where they were getting the shots, they were getting them kind of in those good spots, either right in front of the net, or they were also getting them from the circle there, especially with guys like Gushin and Zadina, who I think were kind of both playing those like half wall, maybe Gushin a little bit more of the point, but those guys are pretty good pass, especially a guy like Gushin, right? Who is we know he's an excellent shot and he's a good passer. Kind of working with him and Thrun to kind of distribute and make sure that they're finding the right guys at all times. And then got a big guy like Jake Bailey just parked in front of the goalie, and that's how he scored his goal tonight. But there's hope that the Sharks, especially with a deeper forward group, right? Talked all summer about how this team was built last year, where it was very top heavy, especially on the power play. Now the Sharks should be able to put out 2 competent groups, at least forward groups, and whether we get the chaos approach of 5 forwards that I'm hoping for because it's fun, or if they have a guy like Benning or whomever running the power play. Like, I think with the depth that the Sharks have, yes, it's not the top end talent that we had last year with Timo Meier and Erik Karlsson, but I think you're going to have a better equipped power play, because I think year 2 in the system with David Quinn, David Quinn can coach up a power play. Go back and look at the numbers of Quinn's power play before he got there, and then after that jump from year 1 to 2 year 2 of David Quinn, huge jump. I don't expect that same type of jump for the Sharks, but I expect a much deeper, more balanced power play attack from the Sharks, where you're not just having to run out Couture, Hurdle, Meier, Karlsson, Barabanov for the first 90 seconds, and then you basically wave the white flag. I think you can run out two quality power play units, and if it's between Zadina, Duclair, Hurdle, Couture when he comes back, Eklund, Hoffman, Zetterlund, if Peterson makes the team, like, you have a bunch of real options. Granlund, I didn't even mention Granlund. Like, you have a bunch of real options to actual kind of pieces that work together, right? Guys like Granlund, Eklund, who are great passers. We've seen Eklund's scoring increase, especially over the year last year, and we saw it in the preseason game the other night where he scored on the power play. Duclair, who we know can shoot, Barabanov, we know can pass. We know Couture and Hurdle, what those guys can do on kind of be those glue pieces on the wherever you need them, right? If you need to stick Hurdle in front of the net, we know Hurdle, his big butt, can do a good job of kind of getting those greasy goals. I just think there's a lot more diversity and a lot of pieces where it's going to give Quinn an opportunity to kind of really cook on the power play, despite losing the top end talent of, again, Timo Meier and Erik Karlsson are better than all these other players. That's I don't think that's a very, I don't know, it's not a hot take, right? Karlsson and Timo Meier are better than all these other Sharks players, but I think the depth and the quality of the pieces is better than what we saw last year. So I have hope. That's one of my big expectations for Quinn this year is, can he cook up the power play? Can we see a dangerous balanced attack despite maybe not having a major quarterback in it and Erik Karlsson? But can we see two competent to good units that can, again, not the same high-end talent, but I think they can kind of come at you in waves, phrasing. But I think there's an opportunity for the Sharks to really kind of make a big jump. And then as they continue to add better pieces and you have the foundation in place, and if you deal with an injury, maybe like in Couture right now, it's not going to just kind of sink your power play unit. So there's hope there. There's hope. And I mean, I think both in the Sharks and the Barracuda, I think the big jump in the power play this year. So that's going to be it for me. Like I said, we'll be back tomorrow to kind of do a nice little stock up, stock down of some of the players and, kind of where they're at now that we've gotten a couple preseason games in our belt. We've gotten some, training camp, kind of, see how the lines have kind of been the past week or so. So make sure you guys are following wherever you get podcasts, or you can subscribe on YouTube as well. Also follow the show on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and Threads at Locked On Sharks. You can follow me on Twitter and Threads at MyFryhole. Until tomorrow. Bye, friends.